All right. Let's make sure that we're all working. That audio's up to snuff, that I can be heard, that y'all can hear me, all that fun stuff. Also give some people time to get in because we've got 3 viewers right now, and I'm sure we can get more than that. I better avoid singing. It'll scare anyone off that comes in. All right. All right. Let's go ahead and pull up the doc that I need to. Yep. I'll have that up so that once we start looking at videos, I can pull that up. Awesome. Okay, well, got some people rolling in. That is good. That is good. Welcome, y'all. Glad to have those of y'all here. Looks like we got Galax Vex, Lord Thunder, Silverwolf, Labage, or Labode, whichever. The Last Skylander, Atlas, Son of Eagle. Awesome. Glad to have y'all here. Hrodvitner, very good. Hello, guys. Welcome. We'll be getting started in just a minute. I'm going to let people come in. I wanted to get the stream started a little bit early. I wanted to make sure that people could come in and get an early start. 12 viewers now. Awesome. Glad to have y'all. Operation Scarecrow, get the bat signal ready, boys. Yeah, and you'll see why. We're going to talk all about this operator. Before we get started, I'll just go ahead and say that I looked at the roadmap for Rainbow Six Siege this season, for this year, rather. Kind of like the way I looked at the For Honor roadmap. And they revealed what operator they're releasing. Well, not what operator, but what country of operator they're releasing each season. Last season, we got Brava from Brazil. This season, we're getting Fenrir from Sweden. Next season, we're getting someone from Korea. I'm very interested in that because Dokkaebi's been my main for a long time, and she's Korean. I wonder if they'll actually have someone compete with Dokkaebi here. Like, will we get a new Korean honey that has to compete? Nah, I'm just playing. The reason I like Dokkaebi isn't just because of her looks. I like her because of her gadget, but it's a funny joke to think about. Raven, what do you think of the Scarecrow of Batman operator? We'll talk about it. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to wait another 3 minutes because then it'll be 8:30, and that way everyone who wanted to come in at 8:30 will be here. So we're going to wait the last 2 minutes now. 2 minutes now. So we're going to get started in just a minute. Who's Brava? She's the newest operator in Rainbow Six. Worst of all the new operators, Fenrir has horrible drip. Oh, no. Sens still is the worst. Fenrir isn't good. Trust me, he's not good, but Sens is still the worst. We need Romanian ops. That'd be cool. But yeah, no, like as bad as Fenrir is, and we'll talk about how bad he is, as bad as he is, Sens is still the worst. Playing some For Honor while listening? You do that, man. I was playing Dead by Daylight earlier because I need to get footage for my next video. Expect that later this week. I might even have it up tomorrow. I don't know. I got to get the recording done, and that always takes a bit because I got to edit that. Hi, Regulator. Hi, Raven. Will you make a RB6 story? What's an RB6 story? Oh, what's RB6? I don't know what that is. Oh, you mean Rainbow Six? Oh. I don't know. I haven't thought about it. Fenrir wears the cone of shame. Yeah, he does, actually. It looks a lot like that. Raven, please click on top chat and set it to live chat. Okay. Hey, there we go. Also, how was your day, Raven? Hope it was decent. It was okay. Still dealing with idiots at school, you know. I got kids who just won't listen. They just don't do what they're told. Had a student today, you know, like... So I'll tell you the story and then I'll get started. So I had this student in my last block. She was rubbing her fingernails up and down an aluminum canister, making a really, like, nails on chalkboard annoying sound. I don't know how she was able to deal with it. Oh, hey, Hannah, glad you're here. But I don't know how she was able to deal with it. But I told her to stop. She does it again. I said, hey, you stop or you're leaving the room. Well, this other girl who was out of her seat and standing there conversing with her friends goes, oh, okay, well, you can scratch on this instead. And starts handing her other items to rub her nails against, like to continue making noise. And I tell her, don't encourage her to do more of that. She goes, I'm not. I'm just giving her an alternative. I'm like, that's encouraging. She doesn't need to be rubbing her nails on anything. And she said, I don't know why it's such a big deal. I said, it's annoying. Now, I'll tell you what, let's not encourage her. You go back to your seat. Return to your seat now. She said, why? I said, because you need to. Well, she starts walking to her seat, but she constantly stops to talk to other people, talk to her friends, grab her earbuds. And I tell her again, go to your seat. She goes, I am. I'm just talking to her. I'm like, well, talking to her isn't what I told you to do, is it? Go to your seat or I will send you out of the room. So she walks to her desk. Doesn't sit down, mind you. She does not sit down. She stands there for a second. And then walks away to go grab a paper towel and clean off her earbuds. And I said, what are you doing? She said, I'm doing what you told me. I said, you are doing the exact opposite of what I told you. Well, I went to my seat. I said, you did not sit. She said, well, I had to clean my earbuds. And then I said, you know what? I'm not arguing with you. So I just called the administrator. And she goes, really? Really? Oh, come on. I'm like, that's what it is. I told you to sit down. You did not sit down. Instead, you did everything but what I told you. And now you're arguing with me. You're out of here. So the administration gets the call. They send someone up. And I said, get her out of here. And she starts to get up, and then the administrator says, grab your backpack, take it with you. And she gets, what, you mean I'm not coming back? Like, no. No, you're not. And so she leaves, and the administrator asked me to write down the detailed message of all that happened, so I wrote that up. So, yeah. Like, any of you out there who are still in school who say, teachers just, they're so mean, man. Teachers are mean today. Trust me. You haven't seen the other side of the aisle, or at least you're not looking hard enough. All right, enough story time for now. We've got stuff to talk about. All right, so welcome one and all to Rainbow Six Cringe. This is where we take a look at everything Rainbow Six Siege and talk about the lore and talk about whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's a win, whether it's cringe, whether it makes sense or not. Some of you might be new to this. Some of you might not be. Today is a unique experience because this happens only once in a while. Whenever a new season comes out in Rainbow Six Siege, a new operator is usually released. And when an operator is released, they get a new anime trailer. They get a reveal video where they talk about their gadget and what it does. And they get some lore dropped about them. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to take a look at all of that. We're going to take a look at all three of those. What we're going to start with this. We're going to start with the Operation Dread Factor gameplay, gadget, and starter tips. Basically taking a look at everything having to do with how you play the character, what they're all about, that kind of thing. And we're going to talk about if their gadget looks good or not. So we're going to start there. I hope you guys are excited. If you couldn't tell from the thumbnail, I think he's pretty cringe. But let's go ahead and get started. All right.
Operation Dread Factor unleashes a new threat into Rainbow Six Siege. One that will get inside your head like a fear-inducing gas that has a deleterious effect on your vision and can lead to deadly consequences.
All right, first of all, can y'all hear that okay? I want to make sure y'all are able to hear that. While y'all are answering that, I'll go ahead and answer this. So his gadget, this is why I call him Scarecrow. This is why I call it Operation Scarecrow. His gadget is basically fear toxin. He basically has mines that, when triggered, will activate a fear gas that will basically incapacitate the attackers. Okay, here we go. Let's hear the rest.
These mines are property of Fenrir, the new defending operator, and they're...
I love this art right here. Okay, let's talk about this art for a second. His power is based on Scarecrow. His outfit looks like Mr. Freeze, the Batman villain, just without the dome. Think about it. Imagine Mr. Freeze without the dome. That's what that outfit is, right? So he's Scarecrow, Mr. Freeze, and his face looks like hell warmed over. He looks, he looks a bit like the degraded version of Ra's al Ghul. This guy is 3 Batman villains rolled into one. Y'all realize that? This guy is 3 Batman villains rolled into one. It is hysterical. Oh, this is funny. So yeah, this design, rich. Okay, let's keep going.
Not the only vision-obscuring gadget coming to Siege this season. The new observation blocker will be available to select defenders to help them conceal their activities from...
I want to say this also. I know that this isn't about Fenrir, but I do want to say it. Lark and I have believed for the longest time that Rainbow Six always favors the defenders. That's the thing. Rainbow Six always seems to favor the defenders. The defenders seem to get all the nicest toys, whereas attackers seem to get so little. Like this new thing that denies drone visuals. Like, don't you already have that? Like, what's the point of this? No, really, what's the point of this? Can't you barricade the door? Can't you barricade the effing door? Why do you need this? This seems like a waste of time to me, but whatever.
From the attackers' drones, cams, and holograms. The map you're seeing, or not seeing, this all play out on
creepy.
is the new rework for Consulate, which brings new floor plans and extensive renovations, just waiting for you to add some DIY flair. New lanes in the shooting range offer more ways to hone your aim. A new permanent arcade playlist gives you more ways to put that aim to good use. And a significant buff for Grim rounds out the major update.
So Grim, not the Bees himself, finally gets a buff. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Grim is the most useless operator in the game. I've only used his gadget effectively once in my entire time trying him out. Only once has his gadget ever worked, and it was because the person I was playing with was AFK at the time. I guarantee you he is the worst. He's so bad that in his anime trailer, his gadget didn't work. Keep that in mind. In the anime trailer that they are talking about the operator, where they're trying to advertise this operator, they not only had his gadget not work, but he got his ass kicked by Knock. This guy's so useless, even his anime trailer showed him as being useless. Let that sink in. Grim is the most useless operator, and he's finally, after 2 seasons of being out, I think, getting his buff. That's funny. That is funny. Moving on.
It's coming to Rainbow Six Siege in Operation Dread Factor. Now let's talk Fenrir and those FNAT dread mines. What is the deal with those?
All right.
Well, they look creepy and they make everything creepy as hell when you're affected by them. But if you want to get technical, here's the deal. Fenrir has 5 of these sticky mines, and he can deploy them Wamai style just about anywhere. Now take notes on this next part because it'll be on the test. Fenrir's mines have 3 states.
Okay.
Deactivated, activated, and triggered. When he deploys them, they are deactivated. In this state, they are bulletproof. You'll need an explosion or EMP to deal with them. If an attacker walks into a deactivated mine's radius, the mine does nothing. When the mines are activated, they are now vulnerable to damage, but also ready for action. If an attacker walks into their radius, the mine will trigger. When the mines are triggered, they spew out a fear-inducing gas that causes this to happen to anyone in their radius of effect. Anyone except Fenrir.
Okay, so basically the setup is that he has these mines, and they deploy a fear gas that basically obscures the vision of the people walking through them. He says that this happens to all operators who inhale the gas, except for Fenrir. This is actually not true, because I think we'll see later in this gameplay other defenders walking through the gas just fine. So I think they either missaid that, or they're changing that. So, don't know for sure. But you can see now why I call him Scarecrow. The whole thing is it's like a fear gas thing, so here we go.
The effect tints your vision and drastically reduces how far you can see. It doesn't damage you, but it is not very safe. Triggered mines will continue to spew gas as long as an attacker is in their radius. Once the attacker leaves, the effect wears off quickly, and the mine goes back to being merely activated. So, how does a mine get activated or deactivated? Great question. The test will cover this as well. Fenrir has 5 mines, but only 3 activation codes, meaning he can only have up to 3 of his mines activated at any given time. He can send activation codes remotely by looking at the icon of a deployed mine and interacting. This...
Okay, so a couple things about this right now. Right off the bat, I'm going to say this. 2 things. Number 1, this operator is an obvious ripoff of... Ready for this? He's an obvious ripoff of the new Dead by Daylight killer. I'm not kidding you here. Fenrir is an operator who's based off the Skull Merchant. Now, I haven't seen anything to definitively prove this, but let me explain my theory. The Skull Merchant from Dead by Daylight has this ability where she's a killer who walks around and she can deploy these floating skull drones that if a survivor walks through them, they will be you will be notified. She will let you know. She can deploy, I think, up to 5 or 6 of these, and they give her intel about where survivors are. And she can activate or deactivate them using a remote control in her hand. This guy deploys 5 mines and can activate or deactivate them using a remote control in his hand. And those mines not only tell him where attackers are, but also obscures their vision. So I'm willing to bet that Fenrir was probably a little inspired by the Skull Merchant. Just a little. Obviously, their gadgets don't work exactly the same, but they're very similar. Now, let me say the second thing about this. Let me say this about that. I don't like it. Now, here's the thing. I don't dislike the idea of the gadget. The gadget's kind of neat. I don't like the idea that you can deploy 5, but have to keep track of which 3 you have active. That sounds like a lot more work than is necessary for this guy to be effective. I think what you should do is just give him 3 and have him have those deployed, and they're always active. Treat it like a Valkyrie camera, or treat it like a smoke bomb, or treat it like something that once you deploy it, it's... You know what? Treat it like Thorn's razor blooms. Once you deploy it, it's active until it's deactivated. The reason I say that is because having it be like, oh, well, I'm going to activate this one and then deactivate that one, and then I'll activate this one and deactivate that. That's too much work. That is too much work. That only works if the attackers are stupid. Now, people like to say, no, he's a smoke for smart people. Maybe he's a smoke for smart people, but here's my question. If you're going to have 2 deactivated anyway, why have 5? And then obviously the answer is, oh, well, what if you set them up here, but then you find out the attackers are coming the other way, so you can deactivate and reactivate from another perspective. Yeah, but then in that case, shouldn't we do that with Thorn too? Shouldn't we be able to do that with Thorn's gadget? Shouldn't we be able to do that with Capcan's traps? See, that's the thing. That's the thing I don't understand about this. Capcan and Thorn are pretty simple. Plant your trap, leave it alone, let the attackers wander into it, and take advantage of it. With this guy... Obviously, he needs to be big IQ plays. I'm going to activate that one. Oh, wait, they're coming the other way. Deactivate, reactivate somewhere else. It's way too much that you need to be worrying about. And most of the time, you're probably going to forget which ones are active or deactivated anyway. I'll be real honest with you. So that's just my thought. Now, if you guys think, no, I think it's totally fine, fair enough. But this is just my perspective. I'm looking at this from a defender's perspective. I'm seeing myself play Fenrir and thinking about how I would look at a situation. And I'm thinking, that's too much work. I should be able to rely on my gadget to do its job without me having to interfere with it. Leave it alone, let it do its thing. To quote Echo from the game, why do it yourself when robots do it better? Same thing here. Why do it myself when my mind will do it for me? If I have to keep thinking about, better activate that one and deactivate that one, make sure that one's turned off so that I can turn on that one. Nope, too much work. It's going to be too much work. Anyway, let's keep moving.
Activates the mine so it will trigger and start gassing off if an attacker comes near. He can also retrieve activation codes remotely in the same way. This deactivates the mine, making it bulletproof again, and returns the activation code to Fenrir's inventory so he can use it again.
See what I mean?
Congratulations, you've completed your introductory course on Fenrir. There will be no test. You all get A's. Teacher Chris is very proud. Your homework for this season is to work on Fenrir's synergies with his fellow defenders. Try placing Malusi's Banshee devices, or positioning a Clash around one of Fenrir's mines and estimate...
See, look at that right there, guys. See that? Remember how he said that Fenrir was the only one unaffected? Well, there's Clash literally standing within the zone and she's fine. So either he was wrong earlier, or they've changed it, or they've mixed it up. Like, it looks like Clash can see through it. I don't like that. I think that's going to give way too much power to the defensive team.
Increase in life expectancy for any attacker that is slowed down while affected by fear gas. Using a Venn diagram, illustrate how overlapping the radius of Thorn's Razorbloom shell with the radius of an FNAT dread mine makes it extra hard for attackers to escape danger. Pair up with a Valkyrie and practice using her Black Eye camera intel to help Fenrir deploy his activation codes at just the right time. And finally, prove or disprove the theory that the only thing scarier than being trapped in a cloud of fear gas is being trapped in a cloud of fear gas with Kavera lurking nearby. Be sure to show your work. And for
See what I mean? Apparently Kavera isn't affected. See what I mean? This is going to be... Already we're talking about all the brilliant ways you can use this thing.
Extra credit, hone some attacker strategies for countering a Fenrir mine beyond simply blowing it up with explosives or just running into the cloud and huffing fear gas until you can spot the mine and shoot it. Work with IQ to locate the mines as you advance towards the site. Then have Thatcher, or an ally with an impact EMP, temporarily knock it out of commission. Brava's Kludge drone can switch the allegiance of activated and triggered mines and outright destroy deactivated mines. You could also use Twitch's shock drone or Zero's Argus cam laser to eliminate an activated mine. And if you need someone to activate that mine to make it vulnerable, consider Finka, whose adrenal surge pushes back the vision blocking effect of the mines. Or Montaigne. He's a cool guy who big shields and doesn't afraid of anything. Fenrir will be available at the start of the season through the Premium Battle Pass and will be unlockable 2 weeks later with Renown or R6 credits. His loadout includes the MP7 SMG or the SASG-12 shotgun.
I like this shotgun. I like this pistol. I know a lot of people like the MP7. I'm not as big a fan.
For hunting fear-affected foes, and the Bailiff 410 revolver with a side of bulletproof camera or barbed wire. And remember, folks, the fear gas can't hurt you.
The fear gas can't hurt you. The fear gas can't hurt you.
Down to one friendly.
Operation Dread Factor also marks the long-awaited arrival of construction crews to the Consulate map. This is a full-on, floor-by-floor rework that will be free for all players when the season launches. Honestly, the extent of the interior redesign is so thorough that you're just gonna have to explore it yourself in the Discovery playlist, and then DM me your best sightlines, when Operation Dread Factor launches. Speaking of playlists, a new permanent arcade playlist is also on the way.
Yeah, somebody pointed out a second ago that it's really funny that they have now created an arcade mode in Rainbow Six long after For Honor added its own arcade mode. I do think that's kind of funny.
Serving up game types like Golden Gun, Headshots Only, and more. Fire it up and get into some fun matches with Siege's more playful game modes. Just a few more things to cover here, and one of them is a new gadget available to select defenders that's designed to give their team cover from the attacker's electronic eyes. The observation blocker can be placed on the ground, and it just looks like a little metal doohickey, but to a camera, it looks like an opaque gray wall that hides who knows what behind it. The point is intel denial. And we all know how important intel is in Siege. Now, your final bits of intel from this video. New lanes in the shooting range provide aiming challenges to help you prepare for action, whether you're warming up or dialing in those sensitivity settings. And a big buff for Grim and his Kawan Hive launcher. He can equip it and fire it faster. His tracking bees deploy more quickly and cover a larger area for a longer time. Grim is also getting new options for his sidearm and generic gadget, the Bailiff 410 revolver, and a hard breach charge, respectively. For more on all things Rainbow Six Siege, subscribe!
Yeah, they definitely gave Grim a help. I appreciate that. All right. Well, that's about it for this. So, we're not really concerned about, I'm not really concerned about all the changes that they're making. All that is, whatever. That's its own thing. But I'm really concerned about Fenrir. And with Fenrir, I'm going to be real honest. His gadget seems cool, but a bit much. And once again, it's just something I'm kind of like, really? This seems like such a help to the defenders. And hear me out when I say this. I know someone's going to say, oh, well, you know, Brava got a really kick-ass gadget that can turn defender gadgets against them. Yeah, you know what the problem with that is? It's dependent on her drone, which is easily destructible by the defenders. Most of the time when I play Brava and I run her drone, before my drone is even effective, it gets shot. So, nah, I'm sorry. I'm not. I see Fenrir's gadget as way more effective than Brava's. But that's just me. Now, we're not concerned about his gadget, though, guys. It's time to talk about his origin. So before we read his bio, we're going to take a look at his anime trailer, all right? Every operator's been getting an anime trailer. I want to watch this first, okay? So, y'all ready? Ready? Here we go.
Deimos and I had a different perspective on what constituted ethical progress of our research. It worked.
I'm going to pause there for just a second. We have here a mouse or rat or something in a room with blood and guts all over the place. Torn limbs. You see like a limb there. It's really disgusting. And his response is a smile saying it worked. This is not the action of a humanitarian. This is the action of a madman. Okay? You're Scarecrow. You are Scarecrow. All right. Let's keep going.
Soluble fear toxin caused hyper-aggression in subjects. Too potent. Adjustments needed.
No, Fenrir. This is perfect. Exactly what I wanted.
What are you doing?
Human subjects. The next frontier.
Okay. Fenrir, buddy, I'm gonna ask you a simple question here, and I know it may be hard for you to wrap your mind around. What did you think was going to happen working with a guy named Deimos wearing a skull mask who doesn't show his face, who says, "Help me make a fear toxin"? What did you think was going to happen, bro?
It's too early for human trials. They'll kill each other!
Bloody hand. Yeah, it's basically Scarecrow, guys. Like, you're seeing this. This is like Scarecrow from Arkham Asylum. Literally, this is like the scene with Scarecrow's appearance in Arkham Asylum, where Batman walks in and he sees like the inmates killing each other. Yeah, this is Scarecrow. All right. So anyway, moving on. So we're past that. This is Thermite, guys. I know it's hard to tell without his helmet and goggles on, but that's Thermite. Let's keep going.
It's a shame he has your formula.
He doesn't. I made sure of that. But I know Deimos.
Can I just pause a moment and point out he has Vegeta's scouter over here? he's got a Saiyan scouter. What's Thermite's power level, Fenrir? What's Thermite's power level? It's over 9,000! It has to be.
And he's coming for Rainbow.
That's it? That's your killer? Hold on, rewind that. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have joked. Let me hear that line again.
Made sure of that. But I know Deimos. And he's coming for Rainbow.
That's your big line? That's it? That's the big line? I know Deimos and he's coming for Rainbow. Well, you know, considering he killed Harry and announced that he was going to destroy Rainbow, and that's what he's done since his reveal, yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good guess. Fenrir, you're not telling me nothing I don't already know. The only thing we've learned from you is that he wanted your fear toxin. But Thermite said,
It's a shame he has your formula.
He doesn't. I made sure of that.
So in other words, Deimos has nothing again. You know, it's really funny to me. Deimos has gained nothing so far. Y'all realize that? I mean, the only thing he's done effective so far is kill Harry. That's the only thing he's done. He's killed Harry. That's it. That's all. In Brava's trailer, when Brava was revealed, his plane carrying money was destroyed, so he didn't get his money. In this trailer where we see him trying to get a fear gas, he didn't get it. Fenrir just said he didn't get hold of it. What has Deimos accomplished? What has Deimos done? He hasn't killed anyone from Rainbow other than Harry. He hasn't gotten his finances. He didn't get his fear gas. What has Deimos accomplished? He hasn't done anything. For a villain, you know what? It's fitting that he has that skull mask. He's the equivalent of Skeletor. You know, like, I'll get you this time, He-Man. Sorry, I'm not a great Skeletor impersonator. But my point being, the dude's done nothing. Done nothing. Anyway. All right. So now we've done that. Let's hop on over to his bio. This is the part we've been waiting for, right? All right. Let's take a look at his bio. We're going to see if this is good or bad. All right. Fear is a teacher. There's always a lesson to be learned. I actually agree with that. Fear can be an excellent teacher. So I'll agree with that much. Here we go. Svensson was a curious boy growing up in Uppsala, where his parents encouraged his fascination with animal biology by enrolling him in every science class they could find. Okay. On track to attend his hometown's university to pursue his passion, his focus shifted following his mandatory service. He learned that he had an affinity for physical fitness and tactical organization and became especially interested in how combat affects soldiers' emotional states. Okay. Following his service period, he studied neurochemistry and joined the Swedish Armed Forces, quickly earning his way up. Okay. So far so good. Basically, we get an idea of what his focus is, what got him into neurochemistry, why he studies that. Odd to join the military specifically to pursue neurochemistry, but he wants to work on the emotional state of soldiers. I suppose it'd be smarter to maybe follow psychiatry, but that's just me. All right, here we go. As a communicator in the Special Operations Group, okay, so he's a communications officer, he expanded his skill set and aimed to develop strategies that would improve his peers' performance. Okay. When his project to create formulas that alter soldiers' emotions was denied, pause there, time out, let's push the pause button on that. When his project to create formulas that alter soldiers' emotions was denied, his insistence caused him to be discharged. Let me restate that in simpler terms, because I think this needs to be explained more clearly than what they put there. This lunatic wanted to create formulas, the kind that you ingest or breathe in or inject into someone, that will alter their emotions. Want to know what I find funny about that? Spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't played Hogwarts Legacy yet. But part of Hogwarts Legacy is that there's this witch who learned an ancient magic that stole emotions from people, and this was considered very, very bad. This was considered dark. And this guy wants to create a formula that will alter emotions. Now, granted, I'm going to say this. I don't think it's a bad thing that you want to make people happier, that you want to improve people's emotional states. That's a good thing. But sadness, fear, pain, anguish, jealousy, remorse, these are natural things we feel, and working through them is a part of what makes you human. It's a part of what makes you functional. So the idea that he says, no, I want to alter this stuff, if you're not letting people work through their emotions in a healthy way, you're effing with them. And apparently the Swedish Special Operations Group said, yeah, we're not letting you practice this. We're not letting you do this. That's not a good idea. In fact, how would you even test this? Inevitably, you would have to test this on humans, and we're not letting you do that. That seems entirely unethical. But apparently, his insistence As in, he kept pushing this, caused him to be discharged. I want to make this clear. This guy was so intent on pushing this horrifying formula that he had to be kicked out of the military. That's intense. All right, let's keep going. Estranged from his family. Okay, so even his family has denounced him. Estranged from his family and made a pariah in the scientific and military communities, he had few options when Deimos approached him. No, hold on. I'm going to pause again right there. He had few options? No. He had a good option. An excellent option. The key option, I would say. Cease and desist! That is the key decision. You basically say, maybe what I'm doing is Orwellian and creepy. Think about this. No, think about this for a second, guys. Some of you might be thinking, Raven, you're making a big deal out of this formula. What if it's a good thing? Pretend if Joseph Stalin got hold of this formula and he wanted everyone to just be, safe and happy. No one questions him. No one's upset about what he does. No one's sad. You know what? I'm going to take this to anime. I know that I always tie things to anime, but let me follow you on this. One of the villains of One Piece, Kaido, developed a drug called Smile. He wanted to create it so that he could create artificial devil fruits. But a side effect of Smile was that you couldn't stop laughing and smiling. That's why it was called Smile. Because you would always laugh and smile no matter how sad you were. And we see this in a disturbing way when a man gets executed in a village and even his own daughter is laughing at his death while she's crying. None of them are happy. All of them are very upset, but they can't produce a different emotion. They cannot produce anything other than laughs and chuckles and glee. Do you not see how disturbing this concept is when brought to its full completion? I know he has good intentions with this thing. I know he wants to help soldiers. But there are two problems with this. Number one, this is pseudoscience to the highest level. It's dangerous science. It's Big Brother level science. This is the stuff I'd expect to read about in 1984 or in 1984 or Fahrenheit 451. Those are the places I expect to see this kind of drug. And then the second problem, you know what? If he had gone through some kind of trauma or he had a buddy in the military who suffered greatly and was totally upset or depressed and he wanted to change that, I might buy this or his desire to help them, but we don't see any trauma that he's seen or experienced that makes him so gung-ho about this. If anything, it's just a passion of his, a hobby. Kind of like how For Honor's a hobby of mine. Here's the thing. I love For Honor, but if I realized that there was something unethical about For Honor, I'd drop it in a heartbeat. This guy has not stopped to think about the ethical consequences of his decisions. And so he goes to Deimos. Deimos, a clear villain, a guy with a very... You know what? I'm going to add this one. Okay. Deimos is probably on every country's hit list. He's probably wanted by the world because he took out Harry and is a clear terrorist threat. But of course, Vincent had no option but to trust him, right? Now, some of you might argue, no, hold on. Maybe he only went to Deimos before Deimos was a threat. Maybe he went... Okay, let's play that game. Sure, before he took out Harry, this is when Vincent met Deimos. Okay, all right. Why didn't he go to Harry before? Why didn't he go to Harry after this whole situation with Deimos? Why didn't he tell someone about this? Why didn't he alert anyone about what's happened? Sorry, I know that I've been ragging on this for a while. Yeah, okay, let's keep going. With his newfound partner and funding, Svensson developed his technology until it became evident that he was being used to create a dangerous weapon. No! What? A fear toxin that was meant to be dangerous? What? Taking his research with him, Svensson escaped Deimos' facility and sought out Rainbow. Taking his research with him, Svensson escaped Deimos' facility and sought out Rainbow. You know, when you play Star Wars The Old Republic, there's a bit where there are some missions where you go in and you discover scientific experiments that were being done to alter life or to affect life forms. And you usually have the choice of either taking the research back with you or destroying it. I usually choose to destroy it because there's some research that does not need to exist in this world. And this is one of them. I'm going to say this, guys. I'm going to say this. Svensson? Fenrir here? A lunatic. I'm not saying he's a bad person. I'm not saying he's insane. I'm not saying he's evil. I'm not saying he's malicious. I'm saying he's a lunatic. He is playing with powers he should not. This is on the level of what what was his name? I forget it. The Jurassic Park fellow. It's like, whatever his name was. I know it's John Hammond. That John Hammond. Thank you, Lark. Thank you. Appreciate that. Say hi to Lark, everybody. He just got back in. But this is on the level of what John Hammond did with Jurassic Park. You're playing with things you really shouldn't. You should not be playing with the emotional state of people through neurochemistry. Psychiatry, relief groups, therapy, these things have been tried and true for generations. Let's not F with people's minds with brain chemistry, okay? That's not a good idea. All right. Moving on from that, let's talk about a psychology report. Okay, here we go. Who does the squad? Okay, Thermite. Thermite does the squad psychology report. I kind of wonder because Harry's dead now, so who does the psychology report? I guess Thermite's doing it. All right, here we go. Whew, all right. I understand the squad's reluctance in accepting specialist Emil Fenrir Svensson as one of our own. No, I can't imagine why. I was just as skeptical when he approached us. But I couldn't ignore the possibility that his information on our enemy might give us the upper hand. I figured we could decide what to do with him later. Okay, I'm not against this idea. That's not a bad idea. We have a guy who feels guilty about working with Deimos. He may have information on Deimos. He could definitely help us out here. So I understand that. Like, let him in, keep him as a prisoner, and say, all right, tell us everything you know about Deimos. I get that. Problem is, he hasn't told us anything about Deimos. All he told us is, well, Deimos tried to get hold of my fear toxin. Ah, crap, he's got a fear toxin? That is not good. Oh, he didn't get it. Oh, well, okay, that's good. Did you get a name? Like, who is he? He never took off his mask. Oh, do we have, like, a motive? Did he say what his goal was? He's out to get Rainbow. Yeah, we got that bit. Anything else? No. Okay. He didn't really give anything, but all right, let's keep going. Deimos is dangerous, and I consider that Svensson might be a spy. That's actually a good point, Thermite. He might be a spy. That might be something to consider. So I had Buck join me during interviews. Buck? Okay, nothing against Buck, but why Buck? Is there a specific reason why you had Buck sit in on this? You know, is Buck like a lie detector? I would trust Kavera maybe with this. Wouldn't Kavera be a better choice? You know, the woman who's a master of interrogation. Wouldn't she be a better choice for this? Maybe Nox, since she's so good at recognizing secrets or spy stuff. Maybe Sam Fisher, you know, the master sleuth. You know, he might be a good one. You know, there was a scene in Goblin Slayer where Guild Girl asked Goblin Slayer to sit in on an interview for, like, rank promotions. And he didn't have a lot of special skills either, but she just needed someone strong and intimidating in the room with her who could scare anyone who was going to act up into staying down. Is that what this thought was? Buck is strong and intimidating and Fenrir won't dare act out in his presence? Let me remind you guys, the only thing we know about his military history is that he was the Swedish Armed Forces, but we don't know anything about what he did there. And based on his appearance, let's look at that. This guy's a threat? This guy? Let me put Finka in the room with him. No, better yet, put Zafia in the room with him. I think they'll be fine. This guy looks like he could try to start a punching contest with this guy could start a punching contest with the wind and the wind would win. Okay? He looks like he could be blown over by a stiff breeze. This guy, he's not intimidating. You know what? Put Tachanka in the room with this guy. He's going to shit his pants. Buck? What is Buck doing there? Sorry. I know that I'm maybe making a bigger deal out of this than I probably should, but why Buck? Okay, moving on. On paper, Fenrir is exactly the type of person Rainbow would seek out to recruit. He's an intellectual and an ambitious tactician in peak form. I want to repeat that. On paper, Fenrir is exactly the type of person Rainbow would seek out to recruit. Oh, is he? Is he the type of person Rainbow would seek out to recruit? A person who plays with neurochemistry and tries to F with the brain? Yes, I see why. That explains why.
Hold on. So let me get this straight. He's on paper. Someone who was discharged from the military.
Yeah. And it says he's an intellectual and an ambitious tactician in peak form. Oh, yeah, yes, he's ambitious and a tactician. Yeah. And he's also a mad scientist! scientist.
Suddenly the hiring of a career criminal makes more sense now.
You know what? I forgive you. I understand why you hired Nighthaven now. At least they're soldiers, not mad pseudoscientists. Moving on. As I learned more about his career path, I realized the traits that led to his military discharge are ones I expect in a member of Red Hammer. What?
So you have a whole squad of just, we have a bunch of dysfunctional psychos.
No, I want to read this. What are the traits? Unflinching drive, okay. Conviction, that's the same thing. This is the same thing. Unflinching drive and conviction means that you have an unflinching drive to something. And readiness to put himself in harm's way when necessary.
Pause. That is not what got him discharged. If you scroll up, you will see what specifically said he's discharged.
Let's find out.
Because he kept on trying to say, hey, Sweden, let me frick with our soldiers' minds.
Let me read this again. When his project to create formulas that alter soldiers' emotions was denied, his insistence caused him to be discharged. That's what got him discharged. His inability to say, maybe I'm insane. So this is what you want to recruit in Red Hammer, Thermite? Now, I understand conviction. I understand readiness to put themselves in harm's way. That's fine. I get that. Fine. But does the fact that he's a crazy pseudoscientist not bother you? All right, let's finish this up. We got 2 more paragraphs. I can't fully absolve him of his work with Deimos, but I can relate to the regrets Vincent feels. That's fair. You can relate to that regret. After all, you did recruit Nighthaven. He had no prior knowledge of the enemy's operations, so I can't blame him for accepting the offer. Okay, this implies that Svensson had no idea about Deimos' killing of Harry. Okay, that answers that. It's easy to get tunnel vision when pursuing groundbreaking research. That's fair. But eventually you do have to come to your senses and notice what's around you. Again, fair. The turning point for him was witnessing Deimos use an unstable version of his fear toxin on his colleagues. I want to time out there. Not a big thing, maybe, but it is a thing. The turning point for him was witnessing Deimos use an unstable version of his fear toxin. Let's stop there and ask, why did you want to make a stable version of a fear toxin? No, really, I understand making a happy toxin, like, let's make a toxin that makes everyone happy. Let's make a toxin that makes everyone relax. I get that. Why would you need a fear toxin, stable or otherwise? Why would you say, you know what, guys, I'm thinking about making a gas that makes you terrified. Why would you want to do that? I don't know, just for shits and giggles. Sure hope no one decides to use this for the wrong reason. It is stable, right? Oh, totally stable. My question would not be, is it stable? It would be, do you need a straitjacket?
Also, didn't in the thing, like, when he saw what it did to, like, the mice, he was like, it worked?
Yeah, literally, remember this bit? Guys, no, Lark makes a good point. Do you remember this? The bit where he watched a rat butcher its colleagues and he says it works? Now, granted, he did say it was too potent and needed adjustments. Granted, he did say that. But the fact that you looked at this carnage and this wasn't your turning point.
Look at the smirk on his face. Go, yeah, I'm pleased with these.
Yeah, this was not the turn. If it were me, I'd look at that and go, that is horrific. I just made a Skaven. I made a miniature Skaven here. I don't think I should do this anymore. We're going to pull the plug on this.
Warpstone?
Yeah. Give me more fear dust. Yes. I also do a bad Skaven impression. My point being, it should not have been when Deimos misused his gas that should have been the turning point. It should have been when he saw what a rat did when exposed to it that made him say, no, this is not what I should do. All right, let's keep going. As he puts it, his work was meant to help people, not hurt them. Serious question. I'm not joking. Serious question. How was making fear gas going to help anyone? Now, that's genuinely my question. I'm not making a joke. I'm not being sarcastic. How is fear gas going to help anyone? Especially fear gas so potent that it makes a rat kill its fellows and you just smirk about it. You're sick, okay? All right, last paragraph. Here we go. The way I see it, I have my hands on an excellent specialist who knows more about our enemy than any of us do. Wrong. You have your hands on a pseudoscientist who knows more about your enemy than any of us do. We don't know anything about his specialization. We don't know what he trained in. We know that no, really, I'm not joking. We know that he had mandatory service, and then he joined the Swedish Armed Forces and quickly earned his way up. But we don't have any, like, history. We don't, at least with some operators, we see, like, they joined certain operations. They did special training. They underwent special, special working programs. They did, like, even Dokkaebi, who looks like a string bean, who looks like she belongs in yoga pants rather than in a skin-tight jumpsuit, like, she went through special training. This guy, we don't know anything. We only know that he is a pseudoscientist. But anyway, I'd call that an asset. I'd call it a risk factor. He passed every test I threw his way, and Buck didn't raise any red flags. Well, then Buck is an idiot. What are you doing trusting Buck with the... No, you know what? I would rather have Ash in the room, because Ash was the one who called Nighthaven before they went bad. There is actually an anime trailer where Ash even says to Harry, I question the idea of having mercenaries in Rainbow. Let's put Ash in the room. Maybe she would raise some red flags because she seems to know what she's doing. Why the hell are you putting Buck in the room? This, again, what is Buck? A lie detector? Why do you trust his word? I'm not saying Buck's a bad guy. He may be a very good guy. Maybe a very nice, pleasant fellow. But what makes you think, all right, Buck, do you see any problems? No, I don't. All right, well, I don't have any problems with you. You're in, brother. Like, what? I would double and triple check this guy. Why? Because he developed a fear toxin. Sorry. I know I'm dwelling, but I got to get that out there. All right.
Honestly, they should have brought Lion in the room and with his full hazmat gear, so we want to make sure you're not using any chemicals.
Yeah, or bring Thatcher in, for God's sake. But anyway, all right.
Thatcher just punches him on instinct and says, I don't care if you join or not, I just wanted to do that.
Yeah. Cade has protested openly against Fenrir. Thank you! The Moroccan Santa Claus actually calls it. Cade, you've earned my respect. That old geezer straight up said, nah, fam. Nah. I don't trust a dude who plays with people's heads. I don't trust this literal head shrink. Like, I'm not behind this. So, good on you, Cade. Why wasn't Cade in the room? Anyway, Cade has protested angrily against Fenrir. But he'll have to come around. Oh.
Just frick his concerns.
Okay. Thermite, I want to like you, dude. I do. I really do want to like you, but... Let me ask you a question. That response, he'll have to come around. If Buck had raised a red flag, would you have told him to just come around? Here's what I love about this. I understand the squad's reluctance in accepting Specialist Amir Fenrir Svensson. I was just as skeptical when he approached us. But he'll have to come around. You've already chosen, Thermite. You've already decided that you're going to add him to Rainbow whether everyone else likes it or not. The fact that Buck didn't raise any red flags means nothing. Cade is raising red flags all over the place, and you're saying, whatever. Which again makes me ask, why Buck? Why is Buck more trustworthy than Cade? Cade has years more experience than Buck. He's the oldest operator. He has trained people, seen recruits come and go. He knows what it takes to be an operator and knows what it takes to be a soldier. And you're saying, you'll just have to come around, old man. I've made up my mind. Screw you, Thermite. Cade should be the leader of Red Hammer. You don't know what you're doing. Okay? Let's finish this. I'm going to read the rest of this. Cade has protested openly against Fenrir, but he'll have to come around. We need to take Deimos down. So that's what it is. We need to take Deimos down. What was it you said earlier? There was something you said earlier. It's easy to get tunnel vision when pursuing groundbreaking research. Replace groundbreaking research with the word revenge. It is easy to get tunnel vision when pursuing revenge. But eventually, we have to come to our senses and notice what's around you. Let me tell you what's around you, Thermite. A trained, disciplined, highly experienced operator telling you to your face, the guy you've recruited is not an asset. He's a danger, and we need to put him behind bars. And your response is, no, we need to take Deimos down. You're stupid, Thermite. You're stupid and you're a useless squad leader. You should hand over your commission to someone more qualified. That was the dumbest thing you could have possibly done. Guys, I say this with the absolute seriousness in my voice. I stand by what I said before. Sens is the worst operator released so far. Sens is the worst, but that's because of their bad attitude, their lack of discipline, and their inability to take an actual situation seriously. If I were their CEO, I would have kicked them out of the military. But with Fenrir, I wouldn't have let him through the door. Knowing what this guy is, knowing what he's done, and knowing that he has nothing to offer, knowing that this guy was so gung-ho about his pseudoscience, that he was discharged from the military and still sought out a madman to help him finish it. I don't care how sorry he is, he doesn't belong on my team. This is an absolute Rainbow Six cringe. This is a 100. This isn't just a Fenrir cringe. This guy, he's insane. I'll give him this much. I will give him this much. He's not a Mary Sue or a Gary Stu character. I will give him that. He's not a cringe Gary Stu. I give him that fully. But he's still not a good operator. If I were the new acting leader of Rainbow Six, I would not let this dude in. I might ask him for information and then hand him over to the authorities. I would say, all right, dude, tell me what you know about Deimos. Give me your information. All right, I'm handing you over to custody. I'm giving you over to Interpol or to the FBI or to someone because, like, no, I want to help. Do you have any training? Well, I worked with the Swedish Armed Forces. That's not what I asked you. Do you have experience? Are you a trained operator? Have you been in any combat? And what do you offer besides this very questionable toxin? All right. Let's wrap this up by reading his device description. Device, the FNAT Dreadmine. Operator, Specialist Emil Fenrir Svensson. Evaluation Lead, Specialist Jordan Thermite Trace with Specialist Sebastian Buck Cote. Why is it Thermite and Buck? What is it with... You know who should be looking at these? You know who should be... Why not someone like... Thorn. Thorn uses a very similar kind of gadget, a plantable mine that activates when within a certain range. Why not use Thorn? I can't believe it. I can't believe this. Why Thermite? Why? I don't understand. Anyway, comment from E. Alvarez. That's Mira. I hope you know what you're doing. This kind of technology is nothing you play around with, Jordan. Thank you, Mira. Thank you. Mira up in here spitting facts. This is not something to play with. Fenrir presented his final prototype with notes attached. The materials of the case, the molecular structure of the gas, the release mechanism, it's all outlined. It's good to know he's aware of the risk this poses, if it's not perfect. It's good to know he's aware, of course he's aware of the risk. He watched it happen. Buck was on standby in case of complications. Thank God for Buck being on standby. Oh, how grateful we must all be that Buck was on standby. You know who should have been on standby? Lion! Want to know why? Because he's CBRN. Lion wears a hazmat suit and a gas mask. He is trained to deal with toxic chemicals. Either he or Legion should be in the room. Those both need to be in the room. Not Buck. Buck does not have the skill set to deal with this situation. He is not a mine user. He is a shotgun user. He is not an interrogator. He is a gung-ho badass who shoots his way through rooms and asks questions never. That's Buck. But to deal with this gadget, you need Thorn. You need Legion. You need Lion. You need someone who is better suited for this kind of bullcrap. Thermite, you're stupid. All right, let's keep going. At his own insistence, we started by testing on Fenrir to be sure, and then alternated testing methods to eliminate possible variables. You want to know what I find funny about this? It's just a small thing. We started testing on Fenrir to be sure by his own insistence. It says by his own insistence. Two things about that. Number one, in the game itself, it says he's immune to it. Like, remember in that trailer we watched earlier, he's immune to the gas. So it really doesn't matter if you test it on him, it won't affect him. Secondly, why would he test it on himself? Why not test it on a rat again? I don't know. Anyway. And besides, couldn't he lie? If he's a spy, couldn't he lie? Couldn't they test it on him and say, is it good? Yeah, it's fine. In fact, I don't see anything scary at all. Maybe we need to up the dosage. Well, you come on in here and breathe this with me. It's all good. Moving on. The gas is unpleasant, but not dangerous. Fenrir warned us that early iterations of the formula cause extreme aggression, but our tests confirmed that this is a modified version to be free of that side effect. Honestly, this is much more sophisticated than Smoke's compound Z8 grenades. I agree, it is more sophisticated. It definitely is, because Smoke's grenades are likely illegal by the Geneva Convention.
Technically, these would be too.
Yeah, they would be.
Still chemical warfare.
Well, I'm pretty sure that Smoke's gas is mustard gas.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, the FNAT Dreadmine's proximity trigger is simple and the effects are temporary. The package can be changed if needed, but it works fine as is. Buck noted that this device should serve well for flank watching and area denial, both tasks that can be difficult to achieve with limited manpower. Well, again, I'm so glad to have Buck here to tell us all this stuff. Because, as we know, Buck is a defending operator who uses mines or gas, right? Wait, he's not? Buck knows nothing about defensive operations. He's an attacker. Buck doesn't know a damn thing about mines. He only uses his shotgun. Again, why isn't Legion or Lion in the room? Why isn't Thorn in the room? I don't even. I'm interested to hear about Fenrir's more positive variants. So like his happy gas? They wouldn't be much use in the field, but he's not off the mark when he says inducing emotional responses could have a therapeutic effect.
Who said that? Bandit?
Thermite.
I know, but this sounds like some bandit since he pushes drugs on people.
I'm interested to hear about Fenrir's more positive variants. They wouldn't be much use in the field, you got that right, but he's not off the mark that he says inducing emotional responses would have a therapeutic effect. There's a scene from Assassin's Creed Black Flag where after Edward kills the last Templar, the Templar says that he doesn't understand what they've done, and he says that if he had his way, he'd keep the whole... If the Templars had their way, they would keep the world safe and sober but enslaved. Do you not see how this is the exact same thing? Let's leave the fear gas alone for a second and focus on this positive variant. The happy stuff, the therapeutic, calming emotional effect. If you're calm and relaxed about everything, how can you deem what's dangerous? Think about it like this. People who are drugged out of their minds will not recognize the danger of wandering into a pack of wolves. People who are drugged up and not able to feel fear or repercussions will walk into running traffic. I'm not saying that it's not good to help people going through stress or PTSD. I have PTSD. I get it. But this, I wouldn't want this guy near me. All right. I think that does it. I think we've gone through enough. Okay, let's go ahead and hop out of this. All right. And we've been at this for a while, I think. So let me get rid of that. I can pull this back up and increase the screen. Okay. We've been at this for quite a while now, it looks like. Almost an hour. So I'll go ahead and say this and then I'll wrap up. Like I said, Sens is still the worst operator, bar none. Sens has... leaving the pronoun thing aside, which I think is ridiculous, but that's beside the point. Their design is terrible. I would never let someone who has pronoun issues into the military. I hate their discipline problem. I hate how they don't take anything seriously. I hate that they took a hostage situation like it was no big deal. I hate that they're a Mary Sue. All of that is annoying about Sens. They're definitely the worst that's been released. But with that said, at the very least, I could see Sens getting past inspection. I would just kick them out right away. Fenrir, I wouldn't have even let in. I would not have even considered them viable. I would have said, nope, see ya, bye, get out of here. In fact, I'm going to call the police right now. This is bad. This is absolutely terrible. Fenrir now, I'm sure that when you play Fenrir, because let's be honest, guys, when you play Rainbow Six Siege, no one gives a crap about the lore. I'm pretty sure I'll get some comment from someone saying, who cares about the lore? Well, to that person I say, you don't have to care about the lore, but I think this is something interesting to explore, and the moral implications of it. I think it's heinous. I'm sure that Fenrir will be fun to play. I'll enjoy playing Fenrir. I'm sure, and I'll think it'll be interesting to see how I can counter Fenrir. I think it'll be an interesting season coming to Rainbow Six Siege. I'm looking forward to it. But from a moral outlook, From an ethical outlook, Fenrir is a horrible operator. But if someone can prove me wrong, I'll welcome your argumentation in the comments. I look forward to hearing what you have to say. I'm interested to see if y'all actually think that there's anything good about him that I'm overlooking. But that's about all for this video. So before I log off, two things I want to say. Number one, expect more videos coming this week. I'm working on the next Dead by Daylight video, and I'm working on another Rainbow Six Siege video. I think the next one is Montaigne, so I'll be releasing that soon. I got a comment from someone on my Discord saying that they don't like that I'm using female AI voices in my For Honor and Glory series. I want y'all's thoughts on that. Should I stop using the AI voices for that and just go back to me trying to throw a female voice? Because if the AI voices are annoying, and I grant you, some of them can be, if the AI voices are annoying, should I give those up? Just let me know. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. And finally, even though I did do a For Honor stream yesterday, I will still do For Honor Friday. As for the Sly Cooper upload, I will try to play that tomorrow, and I'll upload that video either tomorrow night or Thursday. So expect that coming. Also, I'll say this. Next week is exam week at school, so I will be extra busy. Bear with me as I go through all that. All right. I think that's about it. I need to eat some supper because it's 9:30 here, and I'm starving. So, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know it was long. I know it was weird, but it was fun having you guys along. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. I always welcome your input. And as always, I will see you in my next video. Take care.
Have a good one, guys.